Okay, so I was asked to make a video showing what happens, how you know what sign to put in which pair of parentheses when you are factoring quadratics. So take a look. I have four different types of problems here. One where the two signs match and they're both pluses. One where they don't match and the second one is a plus. Then I have one where they both match and they're both minuses, and one where they don't match and the second one is a minus. Okay? So the first thing I want to say is the most important ones to look at are the second ones. Okay? Whether or not the second operation is a plus or a minus. That is what you're supposed to be looking at. Okay? Because the thing is, if the second one is a plus, that means that you're that when you open these up, these are both going to match. Okay? If the second one is a plus and this is a plus, then they're both pluses. Okay? If the second one is a plus and this is a minus, then they're both going to be minuses. All right? I want you to maybe take a minute and write that down. If the second sign out of your two signs is a plus, and the first sign is also a plus, then these will both be pluses. If the second sign is a plus, but the first sign is a minus, then these will both be minuses. Okay, so let's take a look at how we're going to deal with that now. So I know that I'm going to open up two parentheses and start with x's, and I also know that in this case I'm going to start with x plus. Okay? They're both pluses because this is a plus and this is a plus. So these are both pluses. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me 40 and add to give me 13. Two numbers that multiply to give me 40 and add to give me 13. Okay? So let's see. I've got 1 times 40. Those add to 41. That's not work. That doesn't work. I've got 2 times 20. That adds to 22. I've got 4 times 10. That adds to 14. Okay? But I also have 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40, and it adds to 13. So this is going to be x plus 5 and x plus 8. Okay? Now the next one. Again, this is a plus, so they match, but this is a minus, so they're both going to be minuses. So I'm going to open my parentheses, and I'm going to start each one with x minus. Okay? So two numbers that are going to multiply to give me 14 and add to give me negative 9. That means they're both going to be negative. So it would be negative 1 times negative 14, which would give us positive 14. But when you add them together, that would give you negative 15. So what about negative 2 times negative 7? They multiply to give you 14, but then they add to give you negative 9, so that works. X minus 2 times x minus 7. Negative 7 times negative 2 is positive 14. Negative 7 plus negative 2 is negative 9. Okay? But the main thing to remember is we're talking about the signs. Those two signs, these two signs, they match because of the pluses. Okay? All right. Now we're in a different situation. Now we're in a situation where the second sign is a minus. Okay? The second sign is a minus. That means that no matter what happens, one of these is going to be a plus and one of these is going to be a minus. And it doesn't matter which order it is, because remember I keep telling you that multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't matter what order this is going to show up in. You just know that one is going to be a plus and one is going to be a minus. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Whoops. And now, by the way, this one is going to determine which one is bigger, whether the absolute value of the positive number is bigger or the absolute value of the negative number is bigger. Obviously, if the absolute value of the negative number is bigger, you're going to end up with a minus here. If the absolute value of a positive number is bigger, then you're going to get a plus there. Let me kind of show you what I mean by that. Okay? So, again, leading coefficient of 1. Uh-oh. Here comes the part in an interruption.
Any donations for the Mardi Gras Food Festival, please allow them to leave class with their donation and make their way quickly and quietly to the main office at this time. Thank you.
Okay, so again, since this is a minus, one of these is going to be a plus and the other one's going to be a minus, so it's going to be x plus something times x minus something. And we're looking for two things that multiply to give us negative 10. So that could be plus or minus 1 times plus or minus 10, which would add to give us either negative 9 or positive 9, because it's either going to be 1 minus 10, which would give us negative 9, or negative 1 plus 10, which would give us positive 10. Or plus or minus 2 and plus or minus 5. That looks like the winner, because this could either be it would either be negative 2 plus 5, which would give us positive 3, which it's not, or positive 5, negative 2, which would give us, I'm sorry, negative 5, positive 2, which would give us the negative 3. And that makes sense, because remember what I told you? In this case, the absolute value of 5 is greater than the absolute value of 2, so I'm going to give the negative sign to the 5. Okay? So this is going to be x plus 2 times x minus 5. Okay? Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Okay? This one, same thing. I'm going to have a plus and I'm going to have a minus. Doesn't matter the order. I'm just doing it this way just to be consistent. Okay, and we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 8. So plus or minus 1, plus or minus 8, looks like we have our winner. Because if I have a positive 8 and a negative 1, 8 minus 1 is 7. So I've got 8x plus 8 times x minus 1. I hope that helped.